Sunday Night Quarterback is sponsored by Midwest Bank Center.
All right, Brady, so the mark of a good team is to maybe have your B game and still win a game. So you got to feel pretty good. I mean, you just beat a top 25 team, but I don't think anybody at Mizzou thought you played your best.
Yeah, 100%. I think the way we responded to adversity early, and the way we responded when they punched us in the mouth early is the biggest thing. And Boston College is a good football team. I can tell you that defense was good. Their offense was good. That quarterback was good. So we didn't play our best, but at the end of the day, we won.
So another milestone for you. You become the second Tiger quarterback in history to throw for over 7,000 and run for over 1,000. You joined Brad Smith. You're probably too young to remember Brad, but I bet your dad told you a lot about Brad Smith.
Yeah, I mean, someone told me that as I walked off the field yesterday. And it's pretty surprising, honestly. I don't think about those things a lot. I haven't been keeping track or kind of seeing where I'm at on the totem pole. But it is interesting to hear, hey, you passed Blaine Gabbert, you passed James Franklin, and obviously, like we've talked about, these are names that I grew up watching, and I am familiar with Brad Smith. I have seen his tape. I hear his name all the time. I've been able to meet him, talk to him. So it's definitely cool company.
You only had 6 rushes yesterday, but 2 of them were really important. Let's talk about the touchdown. You look like a running back on that cutback. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of our red zone design quarterback run plays. The running back's our lead blocker on that play. He made a great block, but really there was 2 unblocked guys, and I knew I was in trouble. I kind of lost my footing, but I had leverage on him to cut back. And I regained my footing, somehow my shin angles and ankles held up, and I was able to cut back and sneak in there. So that was a fun one.
And then late in the game, when the team really needed that first down, you delivered. Tell me about that play.
Yeah, that's one of Coach Drink's favorite plays right there. Him and Kirby had it dialed up. What was it? I think it was 3rd and 2. We knew they were going to crash the middle. The DNs were going to crash down and take the dive on the running back. And, all I had to do was pull it, get the first down, and, slide down in bounds and seal the victory. So those are always fun, too.
Let's talk Luther. First, the really good 117 receiving yards. I got to believe, and I haven't watched every wide receiver, there can't be a wide receiver tougher to tackle in all of college football.
I have to agree. I mean, when he gets the ball, I don't know what it is. It's almost like he's slippery, and he's just so elusive. Like his body glides in between people, and you watch the defenders, they just it's hard for them to even touch him. On his touchdown yesterday, you go back and watch it. They could hardly touch him, and it's weird because it's confined space, and he's moving, he's gliding. But I mean, it's unbelievable when he has the ball in his hands. I mean, nobody can touch him.
So how did you see on his 2 transgressions? He pulled a mouthpiece out of an opposing player, and then he kind of shoved a ball in an opposing player's face. Do you do anything as a leader to talk to him, or is that up to the coach?
Yeah, for sure. I made sure to, find him and, hey, you good? We can't have that, obviously. And he knows it too. He knows he lost his cool a couple times. And, the thing that Coach Drink always says is, it's always the second guy who gets the flag. It's never the first guy. So, if someone snatches your mouthpiece, they're probably not going to be the ones who get caught. It's going to be you if you retaliate and snatch his back. So, obviously it's tough, but, Luther, he's out there, he's in the moment, he's doing his best, but Luther also knows, we got to be smart. We can't take penalties like that.
You know him really well, and I think a lot of fans want to jump on his character about this, but this is really a hardworking kid that all he wants to do is get better and better. There really haven't been any problems. Can you speak to his character a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, Luther has great character. Luther is Luther. I mean, he's when he's on the field, on Saturday, that is Luther Burden III. He is a baller. He's a competitor. He's in his moment. He has his aura and he's doing what he does. So, sometimes, emotions get high and, these games are intense. We're out there battling and, mistakes happen. But, I don't really think that speaks to his character or how he carries himself because, I mean, Luther's outstanding, man. I mean, he really is. He's the same guy every day. He comes in, he's pretty quiet. He's shy, I'd say. He stays to himself a lot of the time, but character is not an issue for Luther. I can tell you that.
So when you looked at the tape today of the game, how do you grade out yourself?
Yeah, so I watched it last night a few times. I watched it today a few times. I was pretty pleased with how I played for a lot of the game. I think we only had one offensive drive in the first quarter, which is tough. Anytime that happens, because as a quarterback, that means very, very limited opportunities to get in a rhythm, and make plays early on, get the guys going around you early on. But I thought I responded well in the second quarter, the third quarter. And I think just at the end of the game there, we needed one more touchdown. So I need to find out how can we score one more touchdown there at the end of the game to get us to 31 points, and kind of broaden that gap a little bit and make sure it's not quite as close as it was. I think I'll be able to get it done. I think it just comes down to making sure we're operating and not getting penalties, connecting on different things that we need to connect on. But at the end of the day, I think, I was able to make a lot of third down conversions. I was able to use my legs a couple times. We were efficient in the passing game, made some plays. We got Lou through the ball when he needed to get the ball. And, overall, I think it was a pretty good day.
So it's Vanderbilt next week. How do you see the Commodores?
Yeah, I think this isn't the same Vandy team that we've seen the past couple of years. I think obviously from what they've put on tape so far this year, this is a new and improved Vandy team, and it's going to be tough anytime you play an SEC team, no matter who it is. Anybody can win that ball game, and luckily enough, they're coming to Faroe for another home game, which is huge, and it's sold out. I know the fans are going to be great. But yeah, this is another big one. We need to make sure we're on our game and we clean up what we need to.
You dropped a spot in the rankings. Tennessee moved ahead of you. Any thoughts, or do you care?
The way we're seeing it right now is let's check in at bye week. We have 4 games until bye week. This is our 4th. So let's get through Vandy, and then we'll check in and see where we're at on the rankings. And that's kind of been our motto. And then we have after the first bye week, we have another 4 games and then a bye week. So the message throughout the team's kind of been like, hey, let's get to the first bye week. We'll check in at where we're at. We'll play another 4 games, go win those, then we'll check in where we're at, and then we'll finish out the season. So me personally and as a team, we're really not trying to think too much about it. Obviously, I think everyone's aware. We have social media, we have our phones. We don't live under rocks, but at the end of the day, 6 or 7, we still got to go beat Vandy.